The show is about to start. Reese on the radio. Turn it up. Turn it up low. Turn it up loud.
It's like a dream come true.
Turn on your radio. Reese is on the radio.
Yo, let's get it.
Due to the nature of this program, discretion does not exist. It's Reese on the radio. Right now on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Yeah! What's going on? Oh, that volume sounds horrible. There we go. What's up, you scallywags, nutmeggers, conversationalists, and you number one haters? It's Reese on the radio right here live on WTIC News Talk 1080. We are up, raring to go, and hotter like fire. John Silver said to me today, who we roasting today? I said, I have no idea. I got plenty of people to roast. Trust me, the roster is long. It is long. Unfortunately. I could do that all day, but I don't want to just roast them. I want change. I want actual change in all of this. And the fighting never stops because these bozos never stop coming. I got some good news, and I got some great news. The good news is Roseanne will be here tomorrow for all you people who have missed her, especially all you ladies. I know how much you love ladies' night when Roseanne is in the house, but I have better news. Even that. Better than that. Do you remember, let me see. Sorry, I forgot my mouse is over here. Do you remember, let me see if I have him here. Do you remember this from yesterday?
To explain the trials and tribulations that every immigrant and every refugee goes through to get here. And to press this country to...
I stuck in the border. Go Trump! Go Trump! Hey, Murphy,
Thanks, man. Thanks, buddy.
Ladies and gentlemen, that patriot is Rob Vidaro. He will be joining us on the program tomorrow at 4 o'clock. I want to thank James, faithful listener of the show, who got me his number, said, you want to contact this guy? I called up Rob and said, Rob just picked up the phone. Hey, what's going on? And I'm like, Rob, Reese on the radio. He didn't know much about me, but that's okay. We're going to get to know each other very well tomorrow. He'll be on the program. He'll tell us all about the moment he got there, why he was there, how early he was there, what his plan was, all of it on the program tomorrow. I'm excited to have him on the program. Small little victories, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, Murphy, you're a scumbag. Thanks, bud. Nobody's happier than me. Anyway, so we'll have him on. So stay tuned for that on Friday. You don't want to miss it. We'll talk to him about a whole bunch of stuff, like even why he did it. I thought that was incredible. Oh, and what happened afterwards is even a more interesting story. I got a small part of it during our conversation just before the show, so you will love that. I'm going to have to, which I do time to time, I am going to have to kind of chastise people involved or people related to my political ideology. Some people on the left often come after me. You never criticize your own people. And I go, you obviously don't listen to this program. You don't. And that's okay, because I don't expect you to listen every day. You have lives. Nothing against the people who do listen all day. I love you too. There are people who are dedicated to the show who listen from beginning to end, and I love them. Those are my peeps, especially my homies. And then there are people who have lives to live. But I know when they're away, they're like, oh, I need to get back. Let's get them back on. So some of you missed that. So I hope you're listening now. And by the way, if you miss it, just go back to WTIC.com or ReeseOnTheRadio.com, and you can listen to the entire program at your leisure. So I got to talk to the people on my side of the fence, if we're calling it that, for speaking out of both sides of their mouth. Everybody does it. Because it is a way sometimes to have righteous indignation at the same time throw up their hands and give up. Some people, and you know who you are, so as we always say back in the day, if it don't apply, let it fly. There are people who are fed up and want to complain, and then there are people who are fed up who want to act. And then there are some people in between, in the gray area. Don't know how to act. Don't know what to do, but wish they could or wish they had the time. I'm just talking to the people who are frustrated, complain, and throw up their hands. You can't do that. You can't do both. Sorry, just can't. Not in my book. Complaining ain't enough. Some people know who they are. Some of those people call the show, and I love them. Don't think that this is a criticism, sans love and affection for them. They are great people, men and women alike. But after a while, even some of your friends, you get sick and tired of saying, hey, you know what, bud? Enough with the complaining. You going to act? You going to do something? You going to get off your butt and start contributing? Because it ain't enough to complain to me all day. After a while, even I get sick of it. I think it's time that we act. And I got to tell people sometimes, get off your behind and act. Hell, I'll say, get off your ass. What do I mean by that? Now, I told everybody that if I had to, I was going to put this on my back. I was going to deal with the scrutiny. I was going to deal with the yelling. I was deal with the screaming. I was deal with the, oh, Reese, it's never going to happen. Why waste your time? Why you even come all the way up here? You're all the way in Texas. I love a challenge. Now, you remember, I had talked about it for a long time. A couple of weeks ago, a poll came out and said that Ned Lamont was the fourth most popular governor in the country, sitting at a very comfortable 63%. And with that 63%, we saw Lamont doing crazy things. All of a sudden, he's writing crazy bills like House Bill 5044, giving the authority of vaccine mandates to one person who would make those vaccine mandates not just for your kids, but for adults alike. And I said to you, either this man is crazy or arrogant. I think it's a little bit of both. This guy believes in the hype that not only seeking a third term, he could just throw everything, again, in an election year, throw something as off the wall as that. Forget about the housing bill. House Bill 8002 is enough. That should have just made everybody crazy, but it barely got any, like a lot of Republicans in their circles, even the gubernatorial candidates on the Republican side made a lot of hay, make a lot of hay about that. Sure, Eversource was another thing. Made a lot of hay, got a lot of coverage. But Lamont knew he was absolutely cushioned by the mainstream news media and said, you know what? No one's holding me accountable. Let's go crazy. Let's just go wild. And now they've got this emergency certification, 121 page omnibus bill. It's got a whole lot of liberal goodies in it. They're going to actually rearrange some election law before the midterms. Crazy stuff. Especially after the Department of Justice is suing the state of Connecticut for its voter rolls. Out of nowhere, this emergency certification comes up and they start throwing in voting rules? How about the public education portion? New curriculum requirements for Islamic and Arab studies. Creates a working group, only a working group, on anti-Semitism, but new curriculum on Islamic and Arab studies. Extending a moratorium on enforcing the state's racial balance law for schools. How about limits on warehouse worker quotas so they can cut into breaks, meals, and the bottle redemption changes? There's a whole bunch of stuff in here that no one is going to be allowed to push back on. And when I mean no one, not Republicans, you. Here is a governor and a legislature that is saying, screw the people. We got, what? We have veto proof? Even if the governor doesn't like it, he can't stop us. And he'll just pass it, and nobody thinks there are going to be consequences for this? You don't want to know what makes matters worse? Here, let me throw it at you. Try this on for size. My favorite thing that Democrats do is when Democrats will quote a Republican, or a Republican in name only, because they don't know the difference. They just see an R next to their name and think that they're, they're like part of the group. They don't even care about their voting record or whether or not they actually show any of the tenets of conservatism. They just know that they have a Republican, an R behind their name, and they immediately start quoting them. And they'll tell me, it's like, Reese, even the Republicans agree with us. Even though that Republican has no long-standing relationship with Republicans, like a Mitt Romney. They immediately start suggesting that, for some odd reason, is the core of conservatism. But I want to go one step further, ladies and gentlemen. I want to use that tactic on the left, who love this show and listen every day. I want to quote an avowed liberal who is against this emergency certification that's already passed through the Senate and is about to go through the House. It could be voted on today. Here is none other than very liberal, not conservative. I mean, by no stretch of the imagination is this man conservative. His name is, where is he? David Harr. David Harr. Oh, Dan Harr, I should say Dan Harr, not David. Dan Harr, who writes for the Connecticut Insider. He's nowhere near conservative. Listen to him.
Something none of us can ever remember happening is about to happen here at the state capitol. They're going to vote on about 12 or 15 different bills, some of them big, complex things like an education reform with 29 different sections. Most of it is going to be done without any public hearings happening this year, and it's all being done as part of one single vote because it's called an emergency. Now, these bills are going to affect all of us. This is a warehouse workers protection bill. It's a bill that changes a number of things about the way elections are done in Connecticut. It's a great number of things in education, including anti-Semitism, a section on Arab and Islamic studies, all sorts of things happening, all under the guise of an emergency. This is no way to run a railroad. They've run into problems with this sort of thing before. Never has it been done this intensely, this early, during a regular session. The Republicans are irate, and they should be.
That's right. Even Dan Harr, not a conservative. By any stretch, he is a leftist and a liberal. We've had him here on the show. He's made his allegiance to leftist policies very clear, and even he sees this is wrong. But let me help you with something, if I could. I just read this today from USA Today. Headline, will Lamont get reelected? Two-term Connecticut Governor Ned Lamont leads the Democratic primary race for governor, but his approval has dipped. revealed a new poll from the University of New Hampshire Survey Center. The poll, released on February 24th, found that 57% of likely Democratic primary voters would vote for Lamont if he was elected, if the election was held today, while 13% would vote for the state representative, Josh Elliott. Elliott's support has increased from 7% to a now pretty comfortable 13% in just a few months. However, all four of the candidate surveys are less well-known and less well-liked than Lamont. But here's the rub. Lamont's approval rating has dipped slightly. It now sits at 49%, while his disapprove is at 45%. How did that happen? You mean to tell me that the fourth most popular governor in the country sits at a 49% approval, 45% disapproval, and people tell me he can't be beat? And he's passing all these crazy bills or trying to get these crazy bills passed, and people don't think that there are consequences to that? Here's what I think, ladies and gentlemen. Lamont's on a suicide mission as far as his campaign is concerned. I have a theory about it. I'd like to share it with you when we get back. It's going to blow your mind, I promise. Go nowhere. It's Reese on the radio.
Fan of WTIC? Then do us a favor. Download the free Odyssey app and favorite WTIC.
I think Lamont's trying to lose. I know. It sounds crazy. I think he's trying to lose. He's 71, he's 72 years old, somewhere around then. I saw him up close, personal. I don't really believe that he is in it to win it at all. He's too sheltered. He's only going to show up in places where they're going to give him fair play. Dennis House. You know the drill. I doubt there will be a debate. If there is, I don't think he's going to be able to make it. I really do believe that he is throwing in the towel. I really do. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, you're an incumbent. You got to run. You can't bow out. There are not a lot of strong. I mean, think about it. Right now, no one else is polling. Josh Elliott is pretty much his only serious competitor, and that guy's only polling at about 13%, if that. Yeah, 13%. And I don't think that Connecticut has a bench. Sure, I mean, they could have picked anybody. Sure, plenty of people could have stepped up. It's interesting that they didn't. But I really do believe that these actions by Ned Lamont or his team, whoever's, pulling the strings, pushing the buttons, providing the medication, whatever the case may be, I got to tell you, I don't think that he is in it to win it. And I told you that, someone very prominent that I know is no BSer said that on many occasions he has been around Ned Lamont, and Ned Lamont sought him, mentioned him by name, without having to be told, like nobody whispered in his ear, that's such and such, and so. Knew who he was, shook his hand. When that person arrived with their mom at an event, hey, such and such, you brought your mom. Several occasions. Then, just recently, individual walks up to Ned Lamont and says, hey, how you doing? Of course, because of all of the other exchanges, you think, hey, this guy knows me. And walks up to him, and Lamont says, and I quote, who are you again? Who are you with? Yeah. And even this person said, blew me away because of the other exchanges. And the way that people, like the governor, he's not the president. It's a different thing. The governor can shake hands, can say hello, how you doing, unless he's a very volatile character. You know what I mean? But usually it's not like the detail is the detail. Can I give you a perfect example? At that event at the Hartford Public Safety Building, his detail, let's use that word, detail, were two very tall gentlemen, one black, one white, looked the part, dressed to the nines. I knew that they were his detail, like his security detail, just by the way they were standing by the SUV. But they were at least 30 yards away. And when the governor was meeting with the other, it's surrounded as police officers and firefighters there, so the likelihood that anything can happen is slim to none. But nonetheless, they weren't, all by his side. The people who were guarding him and doing the, back away and, playing interference when I handed her the card, all I did was walk right up to the governor. I shook his hand. How you doing, Governor? Reese on the radio. WTIC. Hey, how are you? Short guy, little blue suit. I was like, yeah. Nice meeting you. Yep. Give me a card. Thank you. They don't want anybody near them. They want to keep them safe. And I have this firsthand by plenty of people I've, operated with who've had to deal with his staff, have done press conferences with him. They all tell me what they say, how they do, and it's all hands off. Lamont is very directed. Keep walking. Don't engage. And this is the part that makes me sort of upset. I have to say it, but I'm upset about saying it, but I just have to. I really consider these people the worst kind of individuals. Because for them, it is about their political careers and not the one that they're dragging around like this. Very early, 2021, even 2022, I was saying that Joe Biden was a victim of elder abuse. I was shouted down from the mountaintop. How dare you say that? That's not happening at all. And sure enough, afterwards, what did they say? They said it was a form of elder abuse. The things they were doing to him, the things that they covered up. We could see it with our own eyes. What did they do? They told us that, no, don't believe your lying eyes. I looked at the guy, and I'm not talking, folks, I didn't look at him from afar, all right? It wasn't like a 1,000-yard handshake. I was right up close to him. I sat there watching that press conference. Do you know what he was doing? He was looking around at the scenery. He wasn't even looking at people's eyes. He was looking around like, why am I here? When he was asked questions, he really didn't even understand them. You heard him. I played the audio here. I asked him flat out whether or not he was going to be doing campaign ads to promote recruitment and retention in the police department and the fire department. He said in one breath, yes, we are, or I hope we are. It's his office. What do you mean you hope they are? Is someone else in charge of that? This recruitment and retention thing is supposed to be your baby. You're being honored at this press conference. He didn't know. I think we're doing that. I hope we're doing that. That's what he said. Do I have to get the audio again? I'm telling you, this is one of those things where throw the kitchen sink at him. It's a last-ditch effort. Throw it all in there. And then you Democrats, when a Republican gets, fight back. keep it in there. They'll never be able to turn it over. They'll never be able to change it. Tell me, why else would you do this? Why else? Like I said, Haar is looking at this going, Dan Haar is going, Republicans have every right to be upset about this. Why would he even be called? Why would he be ringing the alarms on it? It is the stupidest thing in the world. Unless they just think throwing in a Republican becomes governor and he can't overturn it at all, no matter what he tries. Maybe he'll throw an executive order here and there, but then they'll fight that as well. You do stuff like this when you know you have no fighting chance of winning. And I believe it. This polling data, look, everything we've heard in the last 2 years about Ned Lamont's polling has been super positive. Super positive. He was sitting at 59%, 53%, I apologize, a year ago. Then just recently, a couple of months ago, 63%, fourth most popular in the country. All of a sudden, other polling comes out from none other than the USA Today that he's sitting on a 4-point differential, 49 to 45. And then all of a sudden this stuff gets thrown out. None of it makes sense, folks. Call me a wonk, and I consider myself one of these people who watch this stuff, and when it doesn't make sense, it doesn't. And it doesn't make sense to me now. Some of this stuff is we're talking about over-the-top crazy. When you are looking at new protection for voter data, framed as blocking federal interference, tweaks in early voting and ballot rules and other election law revisions. Even the critics are saying that this is nothing more than preemptive maneuvering because of the 2024 environment after Trump won. And, of course, after Trump's going after all the voter rolls, why would you do it? Mark P., you're right. Of course we need a House and Senate flip. That's going to be a little harder to do. But this is why I'm making the case. That's exactly why I'm making the case. Democrats must believe, it's just within their heart of hearts, you do this. You throw all this stuff in there. This is like junk mail. You throw this crazy stuff in there. Islamic and Arabic studies? What? Here's the part that I thought was crazy. When they were asked, Democrats were asked, why are they doing this? What was some of the quotes here? Bob Duff says that it's about getting results. Martin Looney says immediate action is needed. Matt Ritter says he blames the GOP threats of a long debate. We don't want to have a long debate, which is crazy because isn't that what it's supposed to be about? You propose legislation and then the people get to have it out with you and say why it wouldn't be beneficial to them, considering they're the people that you serve. Here's Martin Looney and them saying, yeah, we don't want the long debate. We want an emergency certification. And we want it now. And everybody else is just saying it's arrogance. No, folks. This is called desperation. It's the Kansas City Shuffle. When everyone is calling it one thing, look the other way. Because why would they be repeating the same thing if they didn't want you to believe the same thing? Look the other way. I'm telling you, Lamont's not looking good, and they know it. We'll take a break. We'll come back. More news, more views. It's Reese on the radio.
It's Reese on the radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
All right, we're back. And don't forget, folks, we've got a guest today. We've got Dawn Mattos is going to be here. She's an activist here. She says that she doesn't consider herself an activist, but technically that's what she is. She is just I guess a nutmegger, a person who sees when people are in trouble. She feels compelled by her faith to act, and she has involved herself in so many things and has gotten so many results. In fact, she was very active in the case that involved John Flynn, our guest a week ago, and working to get him out of Whiting, the mental facility. And I'm going to talk to her about that and plenty of the other things that she has involved herself with. She is just a regular person with a regular job, a family, a life. But when she sees something wrong, she's Captain America. Just say it. Just say it. It's that line where Captain America, what was it? What was the line? I think it was in Civil War, in Captain America Civil War, when he tells Tony Stark, he says, I don't know, man, whenever I see something, going the wrong way, I just have to act. And that's who she is. When she sees her neighbors, her fellow man or woman in a jam, and it just doesn't seem right, she is compelled to join and fight for that person where she can. And that must be celebrated. So I can't wait to have her here to talk about all the things that she's been involved in. So many people love her and respect her because of the things that she's been able to do. And I hope she inspires you, because I talk about it all the time. People, stop giving up. Every fight that's worth fighting is worth fighting. And I think Dawn is a perfect example of that. I can't wait to sit here and talk to her about what motivates her, what her family feels about the motivation that she has to help fellow people. It's a feel-good story. She is, in my view. Also, tomorrow we will have Rob Vardaro. My wife doesn't even know that he's going to be here. She's going to be excited when she sees him. She and I had a great laugh due to him. He is famously the guy who did this to Chris Murphy.
To explain the trials and tribulations that every immigrant, that every refugee goes through to get here, and to press this country to...
Get the border! I stuck in the border. Go Trump! Go Trump! Hey, Murphy, you're a scumbag.
Thanks, buddy.
Hey, Murphy, you're a scumbag. Thanks, buddy. I can't wait to have him on tomorrow. He made my week. I think he made all of our week. So we'll have him here tomorrow to talk to about all the events, what led to that. It was his story. I don't want to give any of it away, but I'll just say this. He had a mission all along, and he was hoping, hope on hope to actually do something different. We'll ask him about that. But the Chris Murphy opportunity, he saw it, he took it, and it was part of the plan. Because he can't stand Chris Murphy. As many of you sort of share that sentiment. So we'll get into that. When we come back, there is this claim by Chuck Schumer that I need to get into. Chuck Schumer said that tens of millions will be taken off the voter rolls if the SAVE Act passes. Folks, we just got the data that Chuck Schumer says supports his claim. It is amazing how they came to this number. Tens of millions? I mean, it was bothering me yesterday at the end of the show. Someone called about it and we played it. We're going to play it again for you to listen to. And we went to look. I was like, wait a minute. How does he know that tens of millions of people would be removed from the voters' rolls on Election Day? He gave this stat, and I went, okay. And I looked it up, and I found out where they got it from. And it is, I don't know how you come away with this. I guess he didn't think anyone would look it up, but of course, Reese on the radio did. So we'll get to that as well. Also, let me see what there was. I needed something. Okay, that was Lamont. I got a letter from somebody. I'm going to read it, a little bit of it here. I know that people have forgotten that this show covers everything. Like, we try not to miss a thing. But for the sake of argument, listen, when you send me a letter about someone who, I'm going to phrase this right. Someone sent me a note about a story that I not only covered, but I brought the man's daughter here. And this is about the lawyer who had to shoot a man, kill him to save his own life. His daughter was here for an hour talking to me about her father. And someone sent me a note asking me if I heard the story. Yeah, I did. I covered it. Anyway, we'll talk about that. We got to get to the newsroom. John Silva is here. And we'll talk about the shooting in Hartford and what the lawyer said about Jamaicans, which seemed to baffle me when we return. John Silva, WTIC Newsroom. We'll be back. It's Reese on the radio.
It's Reese on the radio. And don't say we didn't warn you on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
All right. We are... What's going on, everybody? It's Reese on the radio. We have got Dawn in the house. We're going to talk to her in a minute. We're going to get to the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center, which you know we're on the 8th, and we've got a long conversation to have with her. I want to take this opportunity to say something that is very important. Tomorrow's program on Friday is indeed going to be a barn burner. I hate to do this to you folks, to have you wait until tomorrow. But listen to me when I tell you this. If you are a member of the Republican Party, if you have stature in the Republican Party, an elected official, if you are a campaign manager, if you are somebody who is of note in the Republican Party, you do not want to miss tomorrow's opening monologue, and you do not want to miss tomorrow's show. I have it on authority that an individual clearly, and I mean clearly, wants to, let's just say, as hard as I have been to be friendly, decided to stab me in the back. And I am going to make sure that they never, ever do that again. You want a war? You got one. Even if you don't think you are at war, you got one. You messed with the wrong person. You have no idea what I am about to do to you. I always come prepared. And this is a fight that you are going to lose, and you will be humiliated. I'm going to slap you around silly. And you drew first blood. So be warned, everyone. I didn't come to play. And he and everyone in his orbit is going to learn that the hard way. Stay tuned for tomorrow.
It's Reese on the radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
Okay, I think we're good. There we go. Hey, we're all right. We are back. Reese on the radio is here. Dawn, am I pronouncing your last name right? I want to say Mattos, but
That's correct.
It is Mattos.
It is.
Okay, switch, move your microphone that way. There you go. Perfect. So I want to be able to get you, but I want you on camera as well.
Okay.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for doing this on such short notice. My contact, Adam 12, was the one who got in touch with you, or you guys were kind of corresponding back and forth. And everybody he's pushed to have on this program, he's been absolutely dynamic. I love his sort of sense of understanding the show and understanding what I do. I've only known the guy for like a year. Oh. And he's like, he gets this show, so he knows, like, he's tapping into, like, you like this guy, right? And I'm like, oh, yeah, I would absolutely would. So, Dawn, you are here primarily because of what Adam 12 said about you. And what you've done, the involvement you've had in so many things. You told me on the phone today when we spoke, and I don't do pre-interviews. I like just calling the people who are going to be on the show, just having a conversation, which we did.
Sure.
you said, and I love this line about you, you said, I'm just a regular person. I got a job and a family.
That's right.
But you're an activist. I mean, you were reluctant to call yourself that.
I was, yes.
But you are. And can you explain to me why you're reluctant to use that term? Because you believe, I'm a feeling that you believe that activism is for the sort of activist class.
Yes. Well, first, thank you for having me.
My pleasure.
And Adam is a wonderful person. I've never met him in person, so thank you for having me. And thinking that my story is relevant.
It is.
I feel it's relevant, especially in this time of period that we're in right now.
Yeah.
But activist, I didn't really start to step into that arena. January 6th for me is what started it. When I went there to D.C., it was an eye-opener, and it was the first time I saw that my government failed us in how they were censoring us. And, when I was there, one of my friends who has a radio show at the time, he had called me and said, "Hey, Dawn, there's an insurrection at the Capitol. Are you okay?" Well, they showed that before they shot the tear gas.
Wow.
And I was like, what are you talking about? I said, it's beautiful
You
here.
and me were doing, you and I were in the same position. I was getting a phone call from my ex-wife at the time who was texting me. For some odd reason, we couldn't get anything in range. I looked at my timeline, and it was screaming and hollering saying, "Are you okay? It's bedlam out there."
Yeah.
And me and my friend Rick Walker, we're all out there going, what are you talking about?
Exactly.
It's great here. People are chanting, they're, USA, stop the steal. It's fantastic. And I'm like, what are you seeing? I'm telling people online, this isn't happening. And they're going, Reese is lying. And I'm like, I get it now.
Yes, exactly. And then our phones went out, right? And then they launched the tear gas and the rubber bullets. And I never served in the military, so I had no idea what any of that stuff was. And I was so grateful that I did have my mask, right? Because it was COVID, and not that it took away.
Yeah.
It still took away your breath, as you know.
Sure.
But it was my first experience in holy smokes, when we go to ralies for President Trump, it's American flags, patriotic gear, and
safe,
very safe, kid friendly.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember seeing a lot of Asian there with Christian tracts, preaching God's word and trying to warn you about communism.
Yes.
I remember,
you had to be where I was. I was very close to the Washington Monument.
Yes.
You were very close to there. Because if you saw that large group of Asian people who were there, I think they were with the Epic Times as well. They were sort of surrounded by them as well. But I saw that group.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
I didn't think much of it until fast forward. Now I understand what they were trying to warn us about. But at the time, I just thought, wow, a bunch of Asians are into Trump. That's pretty cool. But now I know that they truly, they come to America for the land of the free, and they see it being taken away. And I think they probably seen it before many of us.
Hell, they're the canary in the coal mine, if anything, right?
Exactly.
So you saw that, and then you said to yourself, I mean, as you got home, you saw obviously what happened in the aftermath of that as more and more news came out about how this was sort of all planned and coordinated. Then you saw these injustices in regular life in places right in your own backyard.
Exactly.
What was one of the first? And I'm assuming that it's the case with the family members in DCF, or was there another case before that?
Yeah, so what started first was actually, for me, I do a lot of research on sex trafficking.
Oh, wow.
And local, because they keep telling us to look local, that it's that prevalent. And
good.
happening.
You are somebody I need to, because we've been talking about that forever here.
And it was presented to me because I own a networking group, and two businesses were planning on leaving the town because there was this particular Asian spa that there was apparent labor/sex labor trafficking going on.
Sure.
So I felt bad because it was one of my friends who was going to pick up and move his business, and I knew what that would cost him, right? Very small business. He was a one-person operation. So I just started poking around, seeing what was happening, and then I noticed that they had these ads on porn sites. And it's really easy to do, but it almost seems like it's a form of racketeering because
of course it is.
And I'm not saying that every spa is doing that, Asian spa, but I cared that these women were being exploited. Right. So when I first started advocating for their soliciting of sex and wanting to shut it down, because I found out they didn't have proper licenses, and it's not fair to the massage therapy places that spend the money for all of their therapists that are in there, what it costs to keep your doors open for insurance and taxes, and it isn't fair from an employer.
But it also makes the area seedy and dangerous.
It makes it very seedy, and it's a small town in Jewett City, this particular one, and long story short, we were able to get it shut down, but it popped up quickly again. And it's amazing. Really? Yeah, so... And then I moved on to the next one because my paper trail took me to another location in Montville. This time I worked with Homeland Security. They came down and met me for lunch, and I handed them over my entire research because I actually was able to map out how they're doing it, their playbook, I guess. Wow. Almost a form of racketeering, how they're doing it. So that place was successfully taken down with a court order, and, as soon as it's taken down, they go right back up. So they're being funded by somebody much bigger. Like, people say, Dawn, leave them alone. It's, who cares? It's sex. If they want to provide it and someone wants to pay for it. And I'm like, you're missing the whole point. Yeah. Your tax base and the area, right? It's not safe. It brings in crime. It's just not what you should want in your community. So that really hit home for me, literally, in my hometown. And then I started educating other people on how you can recognize these places.
But the fact that I got to stop you because the fact that you were doing this literally gumshoe, kind of like, a gumshoe detective on your own.
Learn on the fly.
And you were learning on the fly to the point that you get the attention of Department of Homeland Security coming to meet with you to get your playbook and you doing, in essence, the field work for this, for a government agency to get them to do the work that needs to be done. I'm sorry, activists isn't enough for you. I'm sorry, it isn't. I think that you're far more important than that.
I appreciate that.
Because that takes time, that takes dedication. You literally went through piece by piece, brick by brick, getting all of this stuff to the point where you get the attention of the Department of Homeland Security to come down and meet with you is a huge deal, which shows the impact of what you're doing. I'm going to talk to you in the next half hour about John Flynn and how that went in. But talk to me a little bit because I'm very interested in this DCF case that you were somewhat, I guess, very much involved
in. The family, yes.
And so apparently DCF, oddly enough, kept children from a loving family for 500 days. We got so many cases with DCF keeping kids with families that abuse them where the child ends up dead. This was a loving family, that was kept from their children for 500 days because the children had broken bones, but no one investigated why. Tell me a little bit about that if you can in a few minutes.
I will. Yes. So the one child was being changed by dad, and dad went to slip the arm into the onesie, and he heard a pop, and he immediately let his wife know that something wasn't right and what he heard. And his mother is there because they were vacationing in Colorado because they were a military family. So they were traveling from California to Groton, Connecticut, and stopped in Tennessee where this took place. And his mom is a nurse, so she checked him out. But the new mom, right, his wife was really concerned.
Sure.
Being a new mom, and at the time the babies were 5 weeks old. So she felt better if she had the child evaluated at the hospital locally in Tennessee.
Did the right thing.
And that's where their nightmare begins. They took both children, even though it was one child that experienced that, whatever that was at the time. But fast forward, the judge that hammered down that judgment to take the children away, he is literally sitting in jail now for drug trafficking charges.
What?
Yes. Yep. Judge Perry Stout.
What?
Let's make him famous.
Yeah, no doubt. So this guy who's responsible for having those children taken out of the home of these two brand new parents is now sitting in jail. Good, we'll get to him in a second. Anyway, but it turned out that the pop that he heard, it turns out that the children suffered from a particular...
Ehlers-Danlos disease.
Okay.
Yep.
Yes.
So it's a form of brittle bone disease.
Is that like the one in the movie Unbreakable with Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson? Okay.
It's in that family.
Okay.
And come to find out, not only did that one child have it that faced the injuries, but the mother has it.
Oh, wow.
And the grandmother has it.
Oh.
So they were able to do that, but DCF would not run those tests to rule out that it was anything other than abuse. And
this was a 500-day ordeal, which in essence extends to like a year and a half without your children. A new mother, knowing her children are out there, cannot access them, feeling, I mean, that's a sense of, I mean, I can only imagine a sense of longing that she has to see her babies.
The only good part of that story, if there is a good part, is that the grandparents have really strong rights in the state of Connecticut,
really?
We learned. So it actually supersedes as next of kin.
Okay.
So DCF is obligated to reach the grandparent, and they did not do that in this case.
Whoa.
So luckily my friend had someone that was working in the system, and they prepared the grandparents with what their rights were, and they were able to get the children placed in the grandparents' home.
Okay.
But there was a real strict supervised
visitation of their children.
And the dad wasn't allowed to have any unsupervised visits.
Wow.
Yeah. They have an article in the People magazine.
I read it.
You can find online. It's heartbreaking.
It is.
And
I'm so glad the article is so long because it really sort of plays out the whole ordeal.
It's very detailed. The one piece I wish they would have included is he retired, but U.S. Chief Petty Officer in the Navy. And at the time when all this happened, he served on the USS Connecticut. So that submarine almost went down in the South China Sea before the kids were born, literally like a month or two before they were born.
Wow.
And if the man didn't suffer enough, now you take away the kids.
Yeah.
And the poor guy
probably
talk
feeling
about PTSD.
Exactly.
Right? And he does tell his story. We were able to go to the state capitol and give a testimony. The three of us did.
Yeah.
And the parents did an amazing job to the point where all of the Republican representatives actually got up, shook his hand, and thanked him for his service, first of all.
Yeah.
But, felt bad for the situation.
There's got to be a documentary made about the family.
They really should. It's an amazing
Absolutely.
family,
Because it just, I mean, talk about so many people who really abandon these folks, and to have the final result, the judge be in jail, is incredible.
That's a story in itself.
Yeah, but it's a Hollywood movie. I mean, if anything,
it really is.
Oh my! And your involvement in that, of course, was very instrumental, very early, or
it was right from the beginning because so the parents, the mom, I am their longtime childhood friend. So I've been friends with the grandmother since we were 4 years of age. And then we live right across the street from each other now, later in life, which is awesome. So she broke the bad news to me right after Christmas because I knew something wasn't quite right. And when she told me the story, how could you not help, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it was awful. So
we are here and we are live with superhero Dawn Mattos. You are, absolutely.
Aww.
And it's so, you have a strong Christian faith, and I say on this program, there's no such thing as coincidences. These stories that you have been involved in are literally friends of yours, and these things are happening. There's a reason why you're there. And because you're so diligent and so, like, the fact that you do all of this research and you have so much access to it, you are instrumental in these stories. You're an amazing person. Just everything I've heard about you so far and everything I'm learning now proves it. Thank you for being here. We're not done with you. We got a whole bunch of other stuff to get to. We're going to take another break. We'll check the roads for you.
Stay locked in. Reese on the radio is on WTIC News Talk 1080.
All right, we got another check of weather and traffic coming up. Dawn and I are talking behind the scenes. Let me just tell you, for those of you who have heard Tomorrow's show in the opening monologue, you do not want to miss it. I'm incredibly disappointed by the news that I heard a little while ago before Dawn got here. And I don't like ever being put in a bad mood before my guests arrive because I want my guests to have a good time. Dawn, are we having a good time at least?
Absolutely.
Okay, good. I hope that my anger did not.
No, and I have the scoop, so
yes,
I'll make sure I keep it.
Dawn knows. Yeah, Dawn knows what it is. So all you people who know Dawn, I know you're going to be plying her. What happened?
I will say nothing.
She will not say anything. Just wait until tomorrow. Someone in the chat room said this. This is funny. Somebody says, damn it, I have a dental appointment at 2. Tell your dentist to put the show on while you're getting your filling in. Whatever the case is, that's all you need to do. And plus, I'm going to talk about it during the whole show. By the way, I just want to say this. I know I asked you about it, but this kid, Rob, goodness, why am I forgetting his name? There it is, Rob Verdaro.
Yes.
You did watch the video of him jumping on stage.
I did.
He's going to be here tomorrow to talk about it. It turns out that, when you see these things in real time, you ask yourself, like, what prompted it? Apparently, this guy's story is a lot longer than that 5-minute or 2-minute soundbite. He got there very, very early, and he staged there, like, undercover in the whole bit. It's a whole to-do. And the one thing I'm going to ask him, just like I'm going to ask you, it's like, what prompts you to do something like that? That's a Connecticut guy who went to D.C. for this event. Like, what prompts you to do it? And now that travel, it's literally for a 2-minute sort of thing. You know what I mean? It's like kind of weird. You said behind the scenes that, am I allowed to say what your husband, you said behind the scenes that your husband says to you, why? Like, why do you do it? And my thought on that is, if I can speak to your husband, is to say it isn't really about you. People know that you get results. You have become someone they can trust with this stuff. And they say, can you help me? Because you don't, pardon the expression, you don't half-ass it.
Right.
And I'm sorry, a testament to that, if I found out that my neighbor lady who would otherwise be called a busybody can get the Department of Homeland Security to take me to lunch. That says to her, I'm like, who's got her number? I need her number. I got a cat in my tree. There are dogs pooping on my lawn. What can she solve? I mean, I kind of feel like you are, that's why I'm calling you a superhero, because
thank you.
You're just a regular gal living a regular life. And these things are brought upon you by obviously friends and people who need your help. And, for some odd reason, you found a niche or something that you have just flourished at.
Yeah. My husband always said, too bad it doesn't pay well. But it's so much more of a reward for me when I got to see the twins get their babies back, when John Flynn got released from our efforts, our community that with fundraising for both of those people. We need more people to stand up. We need people to step outside of that comfort zone and get involved. And it doesn't make you a nosy body, right? It makes you a loving neighbor. And I just... I
don't think anybody's ever going to say that about you being a busybody. Not with these kind of results. Not the stuff that you're doing.
Not for the stuff that I'm doing.
Let's take a break. We're going to get another check of weather and traffic with Tom O'Hanlon. He is in for Mark Christopher. He's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center.
The NAACP calls him, whoa, I don't think I'm allowed to read this. It's Reese on the radio. Let's just say some people are not fans. On NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
Well, we are here with Dawn Mattos. Now, you have a hyphenated name, and the only reason why I haven't said it yet is because my wife is Mexican, and I know that your hyphenated name is Latino or
Portuguese
Hispanic.
And Mexican.
Portuguese and Mexican.
Yep.
How do I pronounce it? Nieto.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's the proper way.
I should have just gone with it. I'm always afraid. My wife gets on my case because she says I sound like a white guy trying to speak Spanish. And she gets on my case about it because I've tried to do the accent and it fails miserably. You have now been an activist, as it were, for a little more than 5 years, right? So right. Just around then, and you, in some way, in so many ways, almost find these things right in your lap. Many people, of course, when they heard that you were coming on the show, was like, make sure you talk about House Bill 5044. Are you involved in that in any way that they were?
So I'm not involved with that, but that is the concern of a lot of people.
Exactly.
So CTRAM is a great resource for people to go to. Kate Prokop is very active on.
Yep, we had her on the show.
Yes, so I don't need to tell you, but just to remind the audience that if that bill it's really near and dear to all of us, right? But Kate is definitely the person.
Isn't it so wild? Can I tell you something a little bit behind the scenes? What Kate had done by coming on this program to tell everybody about going to that site to sign the petition. Do you know that some bozo had the nerve to go after her at her job, suggesting that she was on my show during business hours, and I had to vouch for her and find a way for her to prove that she was not doing it during business? But the thing that ran through my head was that what Kate is doing is beneficial to people across party lines. This is
especially
something
at your employer.
Exactly. This is a violation of everybody's rights, regardless of your political stripe, that somebody would find a way to attack her and to cost her her job while she is trying to, again, do something to benefit that person's rights and not have one solitary person be the determining factor on vaccine protocol in this state. And the fact that they would absolutely attack her just blows my mind. It shows you how partisan and how ridiculous people can be.
It really is. Even with the advocating, I had somebody that refused to take an employment job at the place I work at or worked at, and because of my political stances. So they actually sent my employer a screenshot of of my frustration with our communist ways. And I, luckily my employer just was like, we're not going there. So.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
Some of the things you're working on, one we talked about off the air, but I want to know more about that. I want to help. And I want you to contact that person.
I will.
And let them know that Reese on the Radio wants to help.
That would be awesome.
If this is... Because I understand if that individual is afraid.
Very.
And this show will not and cannot stand for that. And I trust you on this because the most important thing in the world is to make sure that when something doesn't look right and someone steps up, again, no matter their political stripe, if somebody sees something that's wrong and steps up for it, no one should retaliate against them. So that's why in hearing that story, just in the little sort of parameter you gave me and that little sort of snippet that you gave me of the story, I want that person to get in touch with me, and we want to do whatever we can to blow the roof off that so that they don't feel like they're alone, because I am sure they feel that way.
Yes, she does.
Okay. So I want to let them know that, well, you let them know that you spoke to me, and everybody at WTIC will have their back.
That'd be awesome. We should all care about that story.
Absolutely. Well, I care because you care, and you don't have to. That's what I'm saying. You don't have to. You say it all the time. It's like, I don't have to care, but you do. You just said on the phone, which was interesting. It was just like, your faith is the reason why when you see one of your neighbors in trouble, or when you see someone in trouble, you're just compelled to act. Why sit there and do nothing when you can do something? Which brings us to John Flynn. And you and I talked about that a little bit before the show, and you, as many others, said that, John Flynn was a difficult person to get people to rally for because he is so controversial. But you were trying to get people to rally for him and saying that regardless of what you think about him as a person, regardless of, his conspiracy theories or the way in which he goes about things, this is a human being that they're doing this to. Right?
Exactly.
Like, we have got to be able to separate the fact that he could be a complete wackadoodle. What these people are doing to him, the police, the courts, Whiting, what they were doing to a human being cannot be tolerated because, as you said on the phone, it could happen to any of us. Tell me how the hell that originated.
Yeah. So I have met John Flynn at the Marjorie Taylor Greene event that we had in Connecticut, Plainfield, Connecticut, in 2021. And I met him, his dad, and then he became my client. I sell insurance by day.
Okay.
So I met him that way. He was my client. And when I found out that he was arrested and at Whiting Forensic Mental Institute, I just was like, what in the world? And then somebody told me that he assaulted 3 officers. And I'm like, Scrappy John did not assault 3 officers. Sorry, John, but I'm like, there's just no...
I know. He's literally got the capacity, as far as weight is concerned, of Mr. Burns of The Simpsons.
Exactly. So, I and I'm just like, there's just no way. So I made some phone calls, and I was able to speak with him at Whiting. And I got to hear his side, and I just confirmed, not that I didn't believe him, but I just confirmed a couple of things, because if I'm going to put myself out there, I like to make sure I'm doing it for the right reason, right? Yeah. So that he did not, in fact, assault an officer. So I...
as soon as you told me that, I thought that was ridiculous. That's one of those things you just go, no, he didn't.
I know. And anybody who knows John... he's different. He's so intellectual.
Yes.
The guy's brilliant. I mean, he's got
he likes to curse.
And,
that's the most. That's probably the most broad thing I could say about the guy. Yeah. He loves to curse.
He's got amazing degrees. I mean, the man is very smart, and he's he had an active lawsuit, a 5G case that I was able to find in the law library. I couldn't read the entire article because you had to have a law degree or a law email address. But I was able to kind of piecemeal it, and I was able to see that Blumenthal did make a statement about conspiracy theorist will have his day in court. So I was able to see that John Flynn did, in fact, have an active lawsuit for 5G because he's very concerned about all the cancer that's being caused. Sure. And he was disclosing about these waves being mostly near hospitals and schools.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah. So, once you started to connect the dots and realize that he was worth stepping in to help him, especially because he was at Whiting and had all of his rights stripped away, I then tried to FOIA the video at the courthouse and come to find out that the court sealed that video. So my thought was, and if anybody is listening that has access to that video, I would like to know if somebody assaulted 3 officers, why that video would be sealed.
Yeah. If anything, it would only serve to keep John locked up. Right. To show that he indeed assaulted them. It's like, unless they're telling me like they goaded him, know what I mean? Unless something else happened on that video, sealing it doesn't make it doesn't make any sense. I'm accusing you of assaulting us. We have video evidence of such, and then we seal that probably because something else. I mean, this is just one of those things where you go, that's peculiar.
Yeah. It's an admission of guilt to me. If you're sealing something and you're not being transparent about it. So. So we were able to get an attorney for him. That took a little bit of work, but we made the arrangements to do that. And it was a good thing that we secured the retainer because 2 days after that, he was served at Whiting where they were going to, what do you call that? They were going to...
commit him.
Not commit him, but the state of Connecticut was going to...
Oh, they were going to make him a ward of the state?
A ward of the state.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, so they served him while he was in there, and he was freaking out. And I was like, well, that's why we have a lawyer.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So we were very fortunate to get that resolved, but he ended up having to go from 30 days to 165 days at Whiting.
Yeah.
So, financially, that put him in a bad position, and... people still don't get to see truth, right?
Yeah.
Because he wasn't ever able to show that he was not guilty. The charges were dropped. So he went.
Yeah, we looked that up. We were trying to figure that out because we were like, wait a minute, the charges after August 18th or something like that, no more charges there. So they just dropped the charges?
Yeah. So what they did was they did it as a misdemeanor.
Right, I saw that.
A felony for 7 years, and they dropped it to a misdemeanor. So whatever deal the attorney made with the state, who knows?
Right.
We're just grateful that
it's
he
kind
got
of like just go away.
And I told John, if you want to pursue it, let's pursue it after you're out.
Indeed.
Yeah. So it was hard to keep him calm, but I would imagine somebody that had their rights stripped away and being forced medicated for schizophrenia when he doesn't have schizophrenia.
Yeah.
I would imagine that, and then you were facing the full commitment. Scary, yeah. So,
and thank God for you that you just.
Well, thank God for the amazing. We had people donate money from California. A church gave us $1,000.
Wow.
Yeah, which was awesome. And
you did all of this networking on your own, knowing.
Yeah, I just told this story, and some people felt that he deserved it because he does a lot of pro se litigation against the injustice.
I heard that. A lot of people said here when he was on there, he's got a lot of critics, which I look, of course, everybody's going to have critics.
Exactly.
I don't have an issue with that. But, as you expressed, it was like, look, say what you want about John, say what you want about his tactics. But the bottom line was, this was egregious. This is an over,
It was egregious. And like I told people, I carry my
Constitution. There you go. I keep mine in the car,
and my
too.
King James Bible. So, because I, too, sometimes have to worry what comes out of my mouth sometimes.
I heard that.
John had, and I'm learning this myself, just as a newbie in the arena. Mm-hmm. John had his First, his Fourth, his Sixth, and 14th Amendment violated. Yeah. What is that, right? So we know the First because that's used a lot, right?
Sure.
Especially in politics. But the Fourth and the Sixth Amendment, which is to protect your body and your domain.
Yeah.
So I quickly am learning as I go with the advocating. It's unfortunate that I have to learn this way. Mm-hmm. It would have been nice if I just absorbed it in school, but we know they're not teaching that in school anymore either.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with adult education.
Yeah,
exactly. You just got to learn when you learn. You have no idea. First of all, let me tell you, you are always invited back.
Thank you.
I really appreciate you being here. I gave you a hug at the door. I hope I wasn't too forward. I hug all of my people I think are great.
Too.
Good. All right, good. I just wanted to let you know that, one, I appreciate you because, again, Adam 12 told me everything about you. I think that what I've learned about my role here on Reese on the Radio, and I said to myself when I first started on this program, what is this show going to be about? And I want it to be about everything. Of course, I want to call out all the nonsense. Of course, I want to empower people and inspire people to do the right thing. You've been here far longer than I have, and you've been doing it far better than I could ever do.
Thank you.
And if I can't celebrate you and bring you on here, at least make you some way a part of my team, or at least make me a part of your team, I just want to let you know that I love what you're doing. And if you ever need me, you contact me and say, hey, Reese, I got this going on. Utilize this show. Okay?
Thank you.
We want to be your megaphone, especially your megaphone.
Thank you so much.
Because this is, at least the way your husband put it is like, why do you do it? And you say it's a calling. I believe that it is. And you're the type of person, and I think this show needs to be around and see more of. I know that a lot of places around here don't give these sort of activists the props that they deserve, but you deserve every bit of the accolades that you're getting. So,
well, thank you. We have a lot of amazing advocates in the state of Connecticut. People really should, hone in on some of those advocates because they're amazing.
They are fighters, and they are a scrappy bunch.
Yeah,
they are,
and they'll have your back. They will have your back.
That I am learning, and they invite me to everywhere. So I try to get everywhere that I possibly can. So again, thank you for being here. Is there anything that I missed that you can get to?
I did want to give a shout out for Jonathan DeBarros in the 5th District. I volunteered to do his campaign because when I met him, actually, he was on your show.
Yes.
And I was like, I need to know him.
I remember
talk about a
that.
freedom fighter, right? Yeah. And I love the fact that he's empowering second chances, people that have been incarcerated and getting out, and those that are worthy of that second chance. I love that he is all about that reform and how he wants to help the inner cities, the urban areas. Because they've been neglected for so long because of our Democratic Party, that I'm glad that that's where his focus is, and he has an amazing plan to get these cities in far better shape than what they are and get them off of those nonprofit programs. the nonprofits are supposed to be stepping stones to get us through tough times.
Yeah.
But it is
not a lifestyle.
It is not a lifestyle.
Yeah.
And we don't need any government in our home.
Dawn Mattos, thank you so much. And if Jonathan DeBarros has got you in it, Jonathan may be someone to reckon with if he got you on his side. God bless you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
All right, we're going to get another check of weather and traffic. More of the program when we return. Music news coming up right here on Reese on the Radio. Here is Tom O'Hanlon. He is in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center.
Reese on the Radio, making sense of the news. Even when it makes no sense at all. Now on WTIC, News Talk 1080.
Hey, now, we are back, top of the hour here on WTIC. So it appears a 53-year-old man named Everard Walker was shot and killed by Hartford police on February 20th. You may have heard it here right on WTIC in the top of the hour and bottom of the hour news with John Silva. Now, you guys know that I have a direct source to the Hartford Police Department on several fronts. And I sort of get the nitty-gritty details into a lot of the goings-on at the police department. And I don't always ask for first-hand knowledge, but a lot of people wish to get that information to me. Let's call them a source. And there's a bunch of stuff to get into. They've released the body cam. If you wish to look at it, you can. Check it out. I did. I am not going to get into the very easy, low-hanging fruit of this altercation that led to the death of Everard Walker. It's too easy. And I'm sure there are going to be the activists, as there were, who are going to scream and holler when they think that there is something to bite on. If that should happen, I doubt it would last long. And plus, if they do, I'm going to call them out about a host of things that they've ignored. That this is, for a lot of people, just an opportunity. But, that being said, I want to make a reference to the family attorney. There was a press conference where someone had made a statement that says the knife that Mr. Walker had in his hand was a Jamaican knife that every Jamaican man carries. I say again that the knife Mr. Walker was carrying was a Jamaican knife that every Jamaican man carries. Is quite possibly a stupid statement to make. No. Not possibly. I recant that. It is a stupid and racist statement to make. I know plenty of Jamaicans, and to say every Jamaican carries a 4-inch knife is a stupid thing to say and a racist thing to boot. What baffles me is that would be used as an excuse for Mr. Everett, who you can clearly see in the video, holding it in his hand above his head. Was he shouting by the powers of Grayskull, waiting for lightning to strike it and turn into the sword of omens like on He-Man? Or was he trying to assault someone with it? Who gives a rat's behind whether or not every Jamaican a 4-inch blade on his person. Am I to then suggest that every Jamaican is walking through the neighborhood with his arm raised up, holding the ratchet going, what go on, man? What go on? Sir, why are you holding the knife up to that? Every Jamaican holds the knife like this, man. It's just a defense mechanism, man. Is that what we're supposed to believe? Especially with a whole bunch of people practically wrestling over the ground, that we are to assume that's just a Jamaican thing. Jamaicans always pull out the knife and wield it above their head, giving the assumption that they may plunge it into the heart of another individual. Come on, folks. Who thinks we're that dumb? To throw that stupid comment out there insults us, insults even the life of Everett Walker, who, from what I understand, already suffered enough in his life. Suffered in a way that may have led to the episode that was going on that led 211 officers or whoever they are, or responders, 211 responders coming down there to deal with him because he was having an episode that was so, I don't know, chaotic that they had to contact police because remember what the whole purpose of the 211 operators is supposed to do, right? The 211 responders are supposed to be there for domestic issues so that the cops don't have to be there. So guns are not used so that situations like this do not occur. This is a practice that a lot of leftist cities think that they can sort of dispatch into the community. No, let's not send officers with guns out there during these domestic issues. Let's send social workers. And the social workers get there and they say, no, thank you. This is clearly too volatile for us. The social workers probably got there and said, with all due respect, we don't understand the Jamaican holding the hand up in the air with a 4-inch ratchet. By the way, never heard that term before. Normal people just call it a knife. And the police are called. And in the middle of this, as the police officers, and you can see it in the video yourself, so you don't have to call me spinning it. Go watch it yourself. It doesn't turn out that police officers are having an engagement with Mr. Walker. Oh, hell no. They're having it with the people who contacted 211. Yes, adults, mind you, who are not having an episode like Mr. Walker is. They're supposed to be the normal people, and they're the ones who are climbing on the backs of police officers, getting into altercations, and in essence, keeping the officers. I mean, we're talking about interfering with the officers while they are trying to solve the issue, to keep it from becoming volatile. It only got worse because those two people made it worse. They were engaging where they shouldn't have. They were interfering with the officers, creating this situation. This is why they tell officers when they're in tandem, whether it's a domestic violence dispute, never, ever leave the partner or the person who's abused alone, because usually when they see their partner getting handcuffed, that woman will then turn around and attack the officer because she doesn't want him to get arrested, and then they both become volatile. There's a reason why they behave in the way that they do. Keep an eye on that person. Imagine you get there, you know you have a psychotic, or maybe, I don't want to use too harsh of a word, but you're having an episode. Let's just call it that. Where an individual is having an episode. And then when you get there, the two other supposed, alleged, sane people are now making the situation worse. to where it gets so bad that Mr. Walker, according to the lawyer, Mr. Walker is forced to, I guess, just do what Jamaicans do, hold the ratchet and the knife above his head. Come on, folks. Come on. I will sit and I will wait. Trust me, I will tell you I will wait. I'll wait for the civil rights leaders to all get together and have their powwow, and they'll all ask the same question. How do we capitalize on this? That's what they'll do. How can we maximize our presence in the press on this? Can we send out a press release? What can we say? Can we stage a protest? Can we stage a march? Will people come out? What's the temperature outside? Can we stage a school walkout? Can we do the usual stuff with the usual suspects so we can get the usual media, like a bunch of lapdogs, to come out and pull out their cameras and give us the coverage that we need? Look, I'll be honest with you, I hate it when people use someone's death and then turn it into a racial issue. Nothing about that altercation was racist. Everything about that was about life and death. Everything about it. And you guys keep forgetting something, man. You know, we are missing the mark on this. We're missing the mark on this. It's been a long time since we had a police shooting. This police shooting is supposed to be, you know, emblematic of the police department, right? Isn't this what they do all day, every day? Just popping off on every black, Jamaican, Haitian, brown-skinned individual. Isn't that what we're supposed to see? But no, that's not. The reason why this is a news story is because it's been a while since something like this happened. And now all the usual bozos are going to come out and make this out to be some sort of pandemic, some epidemic of violence against blacks. Missing all the nuance. I really do. I'm not kidding you. Go watch the video. It's been made available. Now, I believe that nothing comes of this. I don't think that anyone can spin it. I'm going to contact the NAACP during the commercial break. I get Corey on the phone and say, come on, Corey, we got a statement. We're talking about this. Aren't you going to say something, you know, pro-black? Aren't you going to, I don't know, come up with some Malcolm X quote or something like that that you will completely take out of context and then use it in this case? I got to hear it. So we'll call the people. We'll call, what's his name? Exiled Scott Exdale X or whatever his name is. I don't know. We'll call them all. We'll find out. We'll contact Black Lives Matter 860. See if their phone number still works. They haven't been around in a while, folks. You know, for some odd reason, I guess the business of racial diversity is, it's at an all-time low. No one's really making a big deal out of it. It's really hard for Black Lives Matter to march with illegal aliens matter. It just doesn't work. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. We'll look into it. Let's go to the phones real quick. What's up, Jim in Wellington? How are you? Oh, well, my bad, Jim. Stand by. That's my bad, Jim. I didn't put the microphone up on you. How are you, sir?
That's all right. That's good. You got to have two microphones when I call you.
What do you got, buddy?
Hey, I'll tell you what. Epidemic against Black Americans, sure there is, but it's not by the police.
Damn right it is.
I'll tell you, it's not by a long shot, really. You mentioned something about Lamont. Let me tell you, they could put Lamont in a chair and not say anything. And right now, the way this state is run, he's got 150,000 more votes than any Republican that's going to run. So my question is, what Republican is going to get a moderate Democrat and or somebody who's neutral, no party, an independent, to vote for a Republican? And I mentioned this once before.
You don't. Okay, let me hold on. So you believe no matter what, Lamont is a shoo-in no matter who the Republican is. Is that what you believe?
Right now, unless he has Democratic representatives around the state, specifically in the bigger cities where they have a huge Democratic voter registration gain, unless they just turn on him, not publicly, but they just turn on the process. They don't get to vote out.
Let me tell you this. This is absolutely true, and I know this because I've talked to a couple of people on the Democrat side who have told me this personally, Jim. They're not voting for Lamont in the big cities this time around. They've completely – let me tell you why. Because they were absolutely left holding the bag behind that whole Pataki what's her name? Wanda Pataki thing. There were so many activists in Bridgeport. There were so many people even in Hartford who felt like the leadership left them holding the bag. Plus, they were being investigated under those, under that whole shenanigans going on with the vote.
Yeah, but
they are absolutely done with Lamont.
Well, let me ask you this. What's new with that inside the Democratic Party politics?
Oh, no. I totally get it. But that's the reason. Listen, you wouldn't have. You're missing a very, very key part of this. This whole emergency certification vote is to shore up votes because they know the hammer is about to come down on voting in this state. Why would they be doing it? This is a measure to thwart that because they're concerned about what power they're about to have in the future. If you get these folks off the rolls, which they're going to happen, and if the government actually sues the Secretary of State, which, by the way, is coming, you can damn well bet this vote is going to have a lot of changes in it that you never expected. Lamont is not a shoo-in. You can trust me on that.
Well, no, I agree with you that he's not a shoo-in. But what I'm saying is, right now, with the exception of what they're trying to do with the vote, right now, any Democrat, just generically, any Democratic governor in the state, he's got basically 150,000 votes ahead of anybody else who's running on the Republican side.
He does. He does. If we were to account, it was actually 174,000 in the last vote with Stefanowski. I believe that ground, so to speak, I believe that there's a way to actually thwart that this time around. I really do. It's not a lot of votes.
Well, I do too because at the end of the day, I think people are just sick of Lamont, and I'm talking about the Democratic Party politics. They're sick of them.
Oh, yeah, listen, you can't pull half of these stunts and think that the Democrat Party is just going to sit idly by and go. Look, if the Republicans are saying, listen, the only thing we want for you is to have literal ownership of your own town and its own rules, especially with Housing Bill 8002, we want you to be able to determine your own destiny. Democrats can sit up here and say, what do you think Democrats are sitting around doing? Saying to themselves, yeah, we don't want that. Come on, knock it off. All of these folks are NIMBYs.
Yeah, I wasn't going to bring that's a different subject, but I agree with you about that because even if you're a representative for a bunch of towns, Democratic representative, the last thing I think you want to do is tell your constituents, hey, look, we're going to throw this town in a pile, and Hartford's going to be able to get some of the money, and we're going to bring all kinds of different housing in there. We're going to bring whatever.
Yeah,
and I don't think they don't want that either because they have to get elected.
They never do. Go look at California. California will vote on a referendum to do this exact thing, and then they'll hold a town council meeting, and every one of them will say, hell no, don't bring that here.
That's right. It's finally got to Connecticut.
Yeah, exactly.
So, okay, I guess that's all I got to say today.
You got it, Jim. I appreciate you, buddy. We'll talk to you soon. You got it. We'll be back. Let's take a break. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC NewsTalk 1080.
Listen to WTIC NewsTalk 1080 on the free Odyssey app. Download and like WTIC today for alerts on special programming.
I was a little over the top on that Power of Grayskull thing. I'm sorry. Sometimes it just gets the best of me. That's all I'm saying. I blame myself. I do. I totally take responsibility of that. By the way, for those of you who don't get the whole He-Man thing, that's what that was. That's my whole point. I'm a little reckless. Sam the Man, what's going on, sir?
Hey, the power of grace compels you. So I have actually three things that I'd like to address.
What do you got?
First of all is the entire racism issue.
Oh.
I think it's perpetuated by the media. I don't see it. I want to swear so bad. Why can't we all just get along? I just don't understand it, but maybe that's just me.
Can I answer that thing? And I explained this to someone a long time ago, and people really took to it.
Absolutely.
Racism is not about what most people think it is. It is not about, being upset or being affected by some sort of slight that a person has done to them because of their race. It's never about that. When people talk about racism, it is for three very important things. To the person screaming racism, it is a way to get political power, moral power, or financial power. Those are the only three reasons why it's ever used. They are beneficial to the individual. So by saying they're screaming racism, they are doing it politically, right? Because they're saying, I have this racist thing that is happening to me. You must do something about it politically. Or a moral high ground. You see, this is a bad person, and they are going up against me, which makes me a victim, and therefore, by nature, a good person. Only a bad person would come after me because I am this color or that color, or a woman or whatever, or transgender. It is a moral power play. And then last for not least, it is financial, because it always ends up, if they can, in some form of litigation where everybody else can get their fingers a little wet through the power of the dollar.
Fair enough.
So, what were your other two things?
So my other two things are, when did Aaron Stewart know that Stanley was leaving New Britain?
When did Aaron Stewart know that when?
Stanley was leaving New Britain.
Ooh, great question. Do not know, because you believe that that's something they knew for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, look, companies just don't decide to leave.
Right.
And I had a conversation with you about a client I had in the car.
Yeah.
And a conversation that we had, and his standing with Stanley is fairly high. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm sure that was a meeting regarding that.
Yeah.
That we were transporting to. But, I mean, obviously there was something known, previous to today.
Yeah, that kind of decision to move a company out of a state is not something that's done overnight. I can even go so far as to say, I know a particular company that has been talking about it for almost 5 years, and it took 5 years to them to come to the sort of final, and they haven't even decided where they're moving yet. They know that they're moving, but they have their options. So it is on the table. This is something that I know was in the works for like 5 years.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah. So my third and final thing is regarding the state police shooting range in Simsbury, Connecticut.
Yes.
It was deemed unsafe by OSHA 6 months ago.
Why was it deemed unsafe? Do you know?
Because there's a lead poisoning problem. I mean, go figure. Hundreds of bullets fly a day.
Right.
And cops are putting in that they're sick and getting big retirements because they have lead poisoning.
Wow.
Yeah, whatever. So I believe that Lamont released millions and millions of dollars to rectify this.
Okay.
I drive by this facility 2 to 3 times a day. Nothing's been done. There's still cops actively spending lots of time there, like tons of cops.
So in essence, it's a hazard that's still being utilized, even though it is well known to have lead poisoning there.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, because then Lamont takes great care of the cops, right? Oh, sorry. Did I say that?
That is interesting. Okay, we have got to get to the bottom of that to find out why it is actively known as a hazardous location that officers are still putting themselves in harm's way. Now, do the police officers know that the place is lead poisoning?
Oh, I'm sure it was all over the news. All over the news.
Okay, well, we may have to look into why the police officers are still going there. By the way, if you are a police officer and you followed the show, I know there are some out there who do. We will keep you anonymous. If you know why they're still using the facility, please let me know. Sam definitely wants to know. He mentioned this to me, what was it, day before yesterday you mentioned it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll get to the bottom of it. We'll ask around. Officers, if you use that, give the name of the facility again.
It's the State Police Firearms Training Academy, I guess.
Okay.
It's in Simsbury.
It's in Simsbury. Okay, if anybody has any details to that location, let us know why it's still being used, and if indeed, if something's been sort of fixed as far as the lead poisoning is concerned, let us know. But if it is a hazard, maybe officers shouldn't be down there. Thank you, Sam.
Amen. All right, man. Have a good day. Be safe.
Thank you, man. You too. Yeah, that is interesting. If they do know it and they're continuing to use that site, why would they? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. Unless something else comes forward, I'll check my phone in a second, see if anyone. Where is my phone? Oh, yeah, here it is. I was like, where's my phone? I get text messages throughout the show from plenty of people who listen. Plus, they know that I'm responding to my phones immediately. Also, programming note, in a little more than 20 minutes, we are going to have activist Dawn Mattos is going to be here. Tomorrow at 4 o'clock, we're going to have activist Rob Verdaro. He is the guy who got up on stage with Chris Murphy at the People's Republic State of the Union. So we'll talk to him about that, what prompted him to go down there and do it. Because he went all the way from Connecticut to D.C. to do this. Talk about putting some work in. I love it. Is Bruce, let's go to Bruce. Bruce, I'm assuming he has an update. Or, Bruce, are you versed in this whole shooting range thing, or are you calling about something else?
Shooting range.
Oh, please. Okay. We thank you for your quick response. What's the deal there?
Well, I don't know what's going on right now, Reese, but the firing range at the state police had lead poisoning issues probably 20 years ago. I'm a firearms instructor, and I've had lead poisoning.
Really?
So I don't know what the problem is. When you're at an outside range, the lead itself is definitely not a big problem because the lead is blown away by the air.
Okay.
And now that they're shooting 9mm, which is usually what's happening, there's not a lead poisoning issue. One of the issues out there is the people want to get rid of that range so they can sell the property and put in homes.
Oh, so wait a minute. Is that what's sort of exacerbating this lead poisoning conversation?
That's my problem. Lead poisoning is contracted in 3 ways. One, it's inhaled.
Right.
One, it's from the hands. You absorb it into your hands.
Okay.
Now, the lead, I don't know what they're saying. I haven't heard this story lately.
Okay.
But I was quite a bit involved with it years ago because I was a firearms instructor in Britain, and the range had to be closed down because I had lead poisoning.
Interesting.
My lead poisoning was caused by absorption in through my hands because I was handling it all the time, and plus the ventilation system on the indoor range was not working properly. So I inhaled it. So I don't know where the lead poisoning problem is at the range, at the state police range, but it's very difficult for an officer, a state police officer, to go out there and qualify and get lead poisoning from that. That does not seem to be a problem. And I mean, I've had stuff sent to me from the NRA. I had a lot of in fact, I was involved in a shooting range down in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
That they spent $6 million on lead poisoning issues, and it was allegedly an outdoor range, and because they had overhead structures, the lead was contained inside the range, so the officers were getting lead poisoning. So I don't know how they're getting lead poisoning, but I do know they've been trying to get that range out of there for years because that land is very valuable there.
Gotcha.
Because of where it is. There's another range, a private range right near the Metacomet, which you never hear of any problems with as far as lead poisoning.
That's interesting.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, now I've got to find out, because now the way that you're describing this almost seems like a planted issue, if you get my meaning, right?
Yeah, I think because I do know a lot about the lead poisoning issues, and they would have to tell me where is it coming from.
Right.
Because if the guy's cleaning the lead out of the bunkers or the mounds of dirt that they shoot into,
sure,
then there could be an issue. But lead is now considered a hazardous material. So if there's anybody removing lead, they're removing it with masks and gloves, and they're not going to get the lead poisoning from that. They're not getting it from absorption. They're not getting it from inhaling it. Where's the lead poisoning problem?
Now, so if this sounds right to you, let me know. Could it be possible, as you just said, the land is valuable, someone sort of injects a sort of a theme, a theory, if you will, into the news cycle, creating this uproar about lead poisoning, therefore starting the wheels or the motion into what you're talking about, getting that property closed down so they can sell it off and buy and sell and build homes?
Oh, without a doubt.
Okay.
Without a doubt. I don't know. I don't understand the issue because I haven't heard it, but I was quite involved with lead poisoning years ago. Several ranges in Connecticut were closed down for lead poisoning, but they were indoor ranges and they weren't properly ventilated. That's an outdoor range, so there shouldn't be any lead poisoning issues there. And if there is, I'd like to know what they are.
Good. This is a great angle to look into. Thank you so much for that information, man. I really love it. Thank you, Bruce. I really appreciate you, buddy.
Yeah, I'll be talking to you again. I really enjoy talking to you. I was involved with my daughter with the Mark Twain House. So if you need anything on that, let me know, Reese.
You got it. Absolutely. I got her message the other day. I'm going to send her. I'm going to send her an email so we can work on that this weekend.
Oh, another thing. Just when you talk to her, they're going to have a mentalist at the Mark Twain House in a week or two. You should look into that.
Oh, dude, now
really interesting.
I'm going to send an email right now. Thank you.
They have a mentalist here. You're going to love it.
Okay, you got it, boss man. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Reese.
You got it. That's absolutely incredible. Oh, I love every bit of that. Yes, I did. I saw Dawn actually just walked in. We'll get her in here during the next break. Stand by for that. We'll talk to her for a bit. I just got some incredible information that my source just got to me, and I've got to handle that now. How long do we have during this break real quick? About 3 minutes? Good. I can get a phone call in real quick. Thank you for that. Let's take a break. We'll come back. More news, more views. It's Reese on the radio.
It's Reese on the radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
Got to push my mic. Since we're here, I want to do this real quick get it out of the way because I'm not going to be able to do it in the 5 o'clock hour. But we got Dawn Mattos here. We'll talk to her for a bit with a whole bunch of stuff. I'm getting so much information that I just learned with regards to the Aaron Stewart campaign. I don't know if I'm actually going to break that here until I've talked to the person. I'll get some details on that, hopefully, in the next couple of hours, if not tomorrow. And it's sad to hear. But nonetheless, we'll have that news when we have that news. I want to play this. You guys know that a lot of these bozos in the news media were giving the U.S. hockey team a lot of crap. And Simone Sanders from MSNBC, Biggie Draws over there, bald-headed chick, over at MSNBC. She was talking about how the U.S. hockey team was being used as political props at the State of the Union.
No one is against USA and our athletes and our Olympic athletes. They should not be being used as political props, though, and frankly allow themselves to be used as political props.
So she says they are being used as political props. But there used to be a time where people were okay with athletes after they win championships showing up at the White House or showing up for the president.
It's time, as it always is, for What Now? Boston Bruins goalie Tim Thomas, RSVP'd thanks, but no thanks, to a White House invitation. What are do you make of that? Tim Thomas points out that Tim Thomas said, I exercise my right as a free citizen and did not visit the White House. This was not about politics or party, as in my opinion, both parties are responsible for the situation we are in as a country.
I think this is kind of the hyper-partisanship that just irritates everybody. It's like...
Is that Neera Tardin from CNN? Yeah, that's her. And what did she say?
Like, just go to the White House. You don't have to run an ad or cut a commercial or anything. Just go to the White House, take part, celebrate, just like everybody else celebrates with Republicans or Democratic presidents.
Especially when you're getting honored. Obama made specific mention of him during his 6-minute address.
Oh, that's right, because Obama was president. And you shouldn't deny Obama the opportunity when he invites you. Yeah. I thought that was the reason why. Clever girl. It's funny. Again, this is not about hypocrisy, folks. By the way, stop using that word. They're not hypocrites. They are stupid. It's that simple. That's it. They are stupid. You have to be that stupid to make that claim and then not stick to it. It's not about being hypocrites. They are stupid. A stupid person would forget that that's what their position was with Barack Obama. To then have a different one and think that it's okay for them to just switch up like that with no real progression. You either have integrity or you don't. And I think that none of these people could possibly have integrity because they're stupid. A stupid person wouldn't think that obviously doesn't think that integrity matters. Just go. It's not political. Just go. If it's a Republican or a Democrat president, you should go. Then when it's Trump, it's like, why would they people use this political props? Just shut up. That's all. Just shut up. You're stupid. That's what happens when you're stupid. And you can be stupid. We applaud you being stupid. You were born that way. Let's get our first check of weather and traffic. Mark Christopher. Oh, no, sorry. We got Tom O'Hanlon today. Tom O'Hanlon filling in for Mark Christopher. He's in the PPS Lawyers Traffic Center.
The hour that packs a punch. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
We'll talk about Dawn in a second. News. Celebrating a birthday today. Erykah Badu turns 55, born in 1971. And Corinne Bailey Rae turns 47. She is known for that ridiculous song, Girl, put your records on. I hate that song. Anyway. And I believe Connecticut's own Michael Bolton turns 73. I used to make fun of Michael Bolton a lot. Him, Kenny G, and all that. There was, top 40 stuff. I'm into hip-hop, hardcore. Anything top 40 was corny to me. You get older, and, of course, you learn, you know better, So I want to give him his props. Michael Bolton. Also, what he did with The Lonely Island, really sort of, the fact that he can make fun of himself, I always thought that will immediately get me. If you can make fun of yourself and do something funny to mock your own, existence. James Vanderbeek, God bless him, just passed away. He did a show called The Bee from Apartment 2B, whatever that TV show was, a sitcom with the Ritter girl, and James Vanderbeek played himself. I always thought that was funny. So I love actors who can poke fun at themselves. It is the 24th anniversary of Norah Jones' debut album, Come Away With Me. That was when she left. If I'm right, Norah Jones left the 10,000 Maniacs. That happened in 2002. That can't be right. 43rd anniversary of Michael Jackson's Thriller, reaching #1 on a Billboard album chart in 1983. The album came out in 1982. but it reached number 1 in 1983. 56th anniversary of the Beatles' release of the U.S. compilation album Hey Jude. 60th anniversary of Nancy Sinatra's These Boots Are Made for Walkin', hitting number 1. And the 100th anniversary of Louis Armstrong and his Hot Five. It held a landmark recording session in Chicago on February 26, 1926. They cut 6 sides, including the hit Heebie Jeebies. Congratulations, 100 years old. Let's get to weather and traffic. Tom O'Hanlon is in for Mark Christopher in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Thank you, everyone who sent me the message about Natalie Merchant versus Norah Jones. When I said it, something in my head said, no, that's not right. Just to make it clear. See, when you guys listen on the radio, this is the reason why I say it. I tell people are like, why do you always repeat yourself when you talk about certain things on the radio? Because people don't hear you the first time around. So I checked. So I made sure. Listen to what I said. I know I said it.
If I'm right, Norah Jones would Lefty 10,000 Maniacs. That happened in 2002. That can't be right.
See? I said, no, that can't be right. I knew it the minute that I said it. Norah Jones, Natalie Merchant. I don't know how I made that, but I was on the fly. Yes, I know the difference. I don't even know what Norah Jones, what a group she was with. Somebody said like Ball of Wax or some other ridiculous thing. Whatever it was. But I appreciate everybody correcting me so that I don't look like a knucklehead. When I said it, I meant, no, that doesn't make sense. In 2000, Natalie Merchant left them and did the solo thing years before that. I remember it because it was on MTV and she was doing that whole, because the night belongs to lovers, and that was that changed the whole trajectory of her career. Anyway, I remember that vividly. And I don't know why Norah Jones and Natalie Merchant, all of those chicks remind me of each other. Norah Jones. I was like, all I know is that they were all at Lilith Fair. That's all I need to know. All the same thing. Huh? Lilith Fair, Norah Jones, India Girls, 4 Non-Blondes. What's the other one? Lisa Loeb. All of them. Same thing. They're all in this, crazy chick flick gumbo. That's all they are. But I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. And by the way, Craig, the fact that you know who 10,000 Maniacs or Natalie Merchant is, I don't know. I may have to check you on that. I'm just saying. I promise, Simsbury Joe, real quick. Oh, by the way, I gotta really. No, you know what? I'm not going to do it. It's not even worth it. What's up, Joe? How are you? Thank you for waiting until 5. I know you wanted to crack the mic earlier. What's up?
Yeah. And I fully agree. We got to check on Craig. I'm not sure about that one either. But I had a quick question before I get into the purpose of my call.
Yeah.
Is the vaccine bill in the bill of the 15?
No.
Okay.
I was looking for that too.
All right. And then the gentleman who called in before, the gun safety instructor.
Yes.
What happened was airborne lead dust.
Okay.
Which got into the bodies of some of the instructors there.
Okay.
And I can assure you that there are no homes that will ever be built where the state police firing range is, because there's a 100% chance that it will get flooded again this year in April or May.
Okay.
With the amount of snow we have. So no one's building a house there.
Okay.
So just want to let them know that.
Okay.
So I want to talk about what you were talking about earlier with regards to Chuck Schumer and the SAFE Act.
Yes,
and
I am about to get to that. Go on. I'm listening.
So I'm just going to say this for people who don't know who I am, because just to kind of give a little bit of credibility that I have the ability to go way out into either left or right field with things, but most of the time I'm 100% spot on.
Right.
So I'll just say that back in 2016, I called, and you and I had not had the pleasure of
meeting each other
yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And I called in, and I talked about the information that was stolen from the DNC,
mm-hmm.
and how John Podesta was talking about pizza, and it had to do with pedophilia. And people both on the left and the right challenged me on that. And now with the Epstein stuff, we are clearly seeing that what I said was 100% right, and that issue, which one of these days I'll call in to talk about, is far beyond what people want to even admit to, because it's so troubling to admit to it.
Right.
In terms of realizing this is going on with, people in power at all levels of life. So the SAVE Act, Chuck Schumer, as you said that if they pass it, tens of millions of people will be removed from the voter rolls.
Yes, he believes estimated total of 21.3 million people.
And I believe that he is 100% right within a million. And this is what I'm going to tie it to in terms of our legislature. And this is the one thing I don't agree with you on. I do not believe at this moment in time that any of the Republican candidates have the ability to defeat Ned Lamont. That doesn't mean that they won't in the future.
Okay.
Right now, I don't think that the Democrats are concerned one bit about Ned Lamont losing to any of these people.
Okay.
What is the concern, though, and this is something that I saw, and there's back to the thing I just talked about before about, why is this guy going back to 2016 and talking about information he saw? I have been shown information, and I have to be honest, I looked at it, I said, there's no way. No way. What the information was, and this was within the last week and a half, was someone provided me something showing the number of votes that were injected in each and every Connecticut town as part of a steal of elections. Now, that does not mean that the Democrats who were elected were aware of it. It does not mean that they were participating in it. But I believe that the true reason why they are trying to do something as reckless as they are, that even Dan Haar is against, is that they know that information is going to come out, and that they have been living in a supermajority, and that this is more of a 50-50 state in the legislature. So my belief is that someone has seen what I've seen, and I can't say exactly who moved the votes around. There's a lot of information about that.
Can I ask you a question?
But I believe that is why they are doing this, is that they know that a lot of them, and they may not even know which ones were the ones who benefited, but they're not a super majority.
Can I just interject? I want to ask you a question.
Yep.
Is the injection happening out of state?
Yes, it is.
That's what I thought it was. Okay, you and I saw the same thing. Okay.
And our injection, the way that some of this manipulation of the source code in the voting tabulators shows that we in Connecticut did something to another state to mess with their election.
Does the state start with an O?
No, it starts with an N.
Oh, okay. You got okay. The one I saw was with an O. But yeah. You're right. You're 100%. You're on point.
Yeah. The bottom line is there might be people listening saying, "Oh, geez, the election wasn't stolen." Well, the fact of the matter is, and I said this a month ago because it occurred 5 weeks ago, that there's a lawsuit going on, and Eric Coomer, COOM as in Michael, ER, for people who want to look it up, was the head of security for Dominion, which is the massive voting equipment shop that people were saying that the election was stolen. He admitted under oath, and anyone can see this, he gave the source code to foreign countries. He gave the source code of our elections to people in other countries. So I don't know if it was Americans who did it, but someone messed with our elections, and I know Donald Trump, and he even said it a few weeks ago, stuff's going to be coming out, and there's going to be a lot of people that are not going to want to admit, even on our side, that they were wrong, and they're not going to even be able to understand that, wait a second, this whole January 6th that you and Dawn were just talking about, they knew 6 months in advance. The FBI was already setting up what they felt they needed to set up in the case of an insurrection for that election. 6 months prior,
it was a
no
table
one in this
read.
country was talking about it.
It was a table read, like they do at the sitcoms. That's like when you do.
They knew that this was going to happen.
Yeah. They
knew. Why would you do it? We've never done it before.
Yeah, which
do you
lends
think that all these Trump people are crazy that they're going to suddenly show up, because Trump loses? No.
Exactly.
It's because they already knew that information got into other people's hands and that people were not going to buy the result of the election, and they didn't.
100% right, sir. Thank you, Joe, as always.
Thank you.
You got
Thank
it.
you.
What Joe's talking about is what Kash Patel has also said about the fact that, look, you need a minimum of 6 months. And Kash Patel talked about this before Trump was ever elected. And at least a year or so before even the year of the election. Kash Patel said that to be an FBI informant, you at least have a minimum of 6 months prior to your engagement in whatever they got you in 6 months. They've got to be setting you up for your actual task. So they knew who they were 6 months in advance to whomever was showing up on January 6th, whoever it was that was implanted into the Oath Keepers or the Proud Boys, which is where a lot of these folks were, implanting them into these organizations that ended up at the Capitol. Kash Patel told us they needed a minimum of 6 months organization in order to do that. And then we find out 6 months before January 6th, the FBI is doing a table read on a contested election and a possible insurrection at the Capitol. They're doing a table read 6 months in advance, which goes to argue if the FBI had prior knowledge through CIs, confidential informants, inside the Proud Boys, or inside the Oath Keepers. These people are monitoring these organizations, and they're looking at the chatter that's online into the election. And they're doing a table read 6 months, which is, again, a table read about a possible insurrection at the Capitol specifically. If you're doing all of that in preparation for something that's supposed to happen 6 months, where you don't even know the results of the election yet, that means they're planning for something they already had in mind. That's the whole thing. And again, the other part is you're table reading for it. You have people implanted into the Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys, and you don't alert security personnel at the actual location where it's going to happen. Who is that? The Capitol Police, the National Guard, or even the President of the United States, even his security detail. The whole thing's set up. It's disgusting. That's what it is. Anyway, the next break I'm going to have to do it. I'll talk about the Schumer thing because that information is just so much stuff to cover there as well. Plus, there is some sound bites that I have to play from Harry Enton as well. Oh, by the way, do I have time to play this? Let me play this. Folks, yesterday I told you that the Democrats were set up at the State of the Union. Here's Bill O'Reilly.
The Republican Party is very shrewd. It said, look, the Democratic Party with no leadership at all. So we're going to lay a trap. We're going to lay a trap. And the trap is going to be the Constitution, which every elected official has to swear to uphold the laws of the country, which require that Americans are protected by their government. That doesn't mean you support unfair policies toward immigrants. It means that you understand what the Constitution says. But not one Democrat was smart enough to do it.
And he said that bottom line, the whole thing was a trap.
It's a trap.
And guess what, folks? I told you it was a trap. I said yesterday on the show, wouldn't it be wild that if the Democrats had actually planned the whole thing, and then while it was happening, they all told each other, make sure you applaud for a long time. They had the whole thing planned. Well, as usual, Reese was right. Here's Kat Comack of Florida talking on Newsmax.
So we actually have a little something tonight for our friends on the left, and you'll have to tune in to see what we're planning.
Yeah. She was talking about it on Newsmax before it. She was the only one who revealed it.
So we actually have a little something tonight for our friends on the left, and you'll have to tune in to see what we're planning.
Yeah, they knew. Let's get another check of traffic and weather. We'll be back. It's Reese on the Radio.
The Odyssey app lets you jump back to the moments you missed from WTIC News Talk 1080. Download the free Odyssey app, search WTIC News Talk 1080, and tap earlier today to get started.
Usually he doesn't call me until Friday, but here he is on Thursday calling me early. Let's find out how he's going to ruffle my feathers today. Why Mike is on the line. What's up, buddy?
Oh, man. So, I've told you about my work situation.
Yes.
And it's turned into now I have the incompetent Dr. Babu, and I have an office manager who is a corporate drone millennial who is hitting everybody with that fake corporate speak and the faux performative happiness.
Yes.
And I watched them all today scramble and run around like chickens with their head cut off because they didn't understand that I've already done the thing they were freaking out about me being done.
And you didn't go around bragging about it. That's why they didn't know it was done.
Like, when we do implants, what you have to do is usually we do a CT scan and we do an intraoral scan of the mouth, and I send them both to the lab that plots the implant and makes the guide.
Right.
Well, we couldn't get a scan because these people are incompetent, so we took impressions instead. And I, on my lunch hour last Wednesday, boxed up the case, made the call, transmitted the CT scan, packed the package up, put a mailing label on it, set in the outgoing mail. And I said, here's the case that has to go, call FedEx, last Wednesday. The goddamn case was sitting on the desk today when he had to do the follow-up call with the lab, and he's freaking out. He's like, oh, my God, where is the case? Somebody call them, take care of it. And they're freaking out while I'm at lunch, and I came back, and I'm like, the GD case is right there. I told you about it 2 days ago. And what it comes down to in all things, if you have a question, you probably go ask the white guy.
I knew it. I knew it was coming. I knew it.
Because I knew everything was going on. All day long, dude, I fix everybody's problems, and I think this millennial chick is so intimidated by my genius and efficiency that she feels I know more about everything that she does, and she's freaking out because she can't stand for a man to be on top of things. But just know, Uncle Mike knows what the F is going on all the time.
Well, I want to say that in the event that someone needs something answered, fixed, or understood, as Mike just put it, ask the white man. Right?
Yeah, and getting on to the State of the Union real quick.
Yeah, real quick.
Dude, Trump set these people up, and
boy, did he.
The cameraman was so good when Trump talked about Somali pirates. The cameraman panned right to her. And then when he said, J.D. Vance is going to tackle this fraud in Minneapolis, they put the camera right on her, and you watched her face change from, I'm the captain now, to, oh, my God, I'm going back to my S-hole country. He did great. He made him look stupid. And we got to see a Chief Warrant Officer 5 in person.
Yeah,
Those
wow.
people are like seeing Bigfoot, dude. You never see Warrant Officer 5.
And he was huge. Did you see how huge he was? I mean, he gave Lurch a run of the money. I'm looking at him, I'm thinking, is his wife short or is he just huge? His wife is like 5'7".
That's a big strapping soldier right there, man. But he did everything right. I'm hoping he's going after him. But did you see the story that Tucker Carlson put out? That he said that he believes that the war with Iran is Israel's last chance because they believe that tides are turning among young people in America. They're not going to support Israel anymore.
Yeah, I do know about that. I got to get to a break, but you're 100% right. I'm actually checking that out. I'm going to do a whole thing on it on Monday. Thanks, boss.
They're going to India. Good luck there.
Yeah. Let's get another check of weather and traffic. Mark Christopher's out. We got Tom O'Hanlon. He's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center.
What's up, everybody? You know who it is. You know who it is. You know who it is. It's Reese on the Radio. Frederick Douglass of the 21st century.
It's WTIC News Talk 1080.
You know, I hadn't planned on it, but something just came over the wire, so we might as well add it.
very well be the stupidest person on the face of the earth.
The stupidest thing I read today comes out of the New York Post. Parents are outraged over a New York City assistant principal alleged double life. What was his double life? Parents at a Queens elementary school said that they were shocked and outraged after learning that an assistant principal at their kid's school was allegedly moonlighting as a high-end pimp. Bond Ng, an Asian 47-year-old administrator in charge of school safety at PS 16 in Corona, Queens, allegedly arranged 2,000 an hour dates with a Los Angeles-based woman as recently as late December, federal prosecutors said on Sunday, and schoolhouse parents are livid. They say this was very dangerous for the kids. How? Was he pimping the woman at school? A woman named Rosa Bury says, whose 8-year-old son is a student at the school. She says, I'm angry about it. He should never be around kids. He should never come back here. Another parent says that we just can't trust people. Ng, who is a $173,000 a year school administrator, was charged with coercing interstate prostitution for allegedly setting up trysts inside a ritzy Long Island City high-rise and elsewhere since at least, wait for it, 2011. The U.S. Attorney's Office said on Tuesday he was questioned after getting off a plane from Columbia at JFK Airport on Friday and allegedly told authorities that he was a suspected sex worker's manager. Which, again, is sort of like custodial engineer to janitor. Same thing. You know what I mean? Manager, pimp, same deal. For parents at PS 16, the alleged Jekyll and Hyde lifestyle was too much to bear. Are you effing kidding me? One dad said, who asked to remain anonymous. Damn, you hear crazy stuff like that all the time in New York. Other parents said that they were blindsided. You think? That's not something you ever really expect. This is so shocking, one mom told the Post. She said, I never thought he'd do something like that. Do you ever think that someone would? Who do you look at ever and go, I wonder if he's a pimp? Okay, I did think that one time looking at a guy. Do you want to know who it was? Roland, do you know who it was? The first person I thought it probably had like pimp-like tendencies? You. Yeah, whenever I see a guy with braids in their hair, I go, yeah, he's got pimp tendencies. He just does. I would have never thought that. You seem too quiet to be a music producer. When I found out that you actually did music and like hip hop, I was just like, he's not even remotely gregarious in that way. Like, you're so quiet. You're like church mouse even. I have to force you to actually get enraged about stuff. You don't have the energy of of a pacifist. It's weird. Do you ever get
rowdy? Yeah, of course.
Do you?
Yeah.
You don't seem the type. Like, you're the person who I know is like...
You saw my video.
Yes, I saw your video, and I'm not going to lie. The whole time I'm watching it, I'm just like, really? This guy's usually on sedatives. It's impossible to believe that you're actually, moving around. You don't seem the type.
Well, I'm just the problem is, which is a blessing and a cursing.
Yeah, is a curse? What's the curse part?
I notice things that normal people don't notice.
You're very perceptive.
So little nuances and little things I see, and if I actually spoke on it, people would think like I'm a creepy dude or something. But I just notice weird stuff about people, about things.
Ooh.
So I just keep quiet.
So you would probably dig this mentalist that what's the name called about earlier?
Oh, maybe so.
Yeah, that thing at the Mark Twain house, mentalist.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm really, really interested in checking that out.
Yeah, you should do it.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to do that. Anyway, I'm kidding about it. I never ever thought you were a pimp.
Hey.
But I am concerned about people who wear braids, though. I never had them.
Hey, I got dreads, not braids.
Oh, my apologies. You have. By the way, just so we understand each other, do you have what is called naughty dreads or dirty dreads?
Neither one. I keep my dreads clean.
Yeah, so that would be naughty dreads.
Okay.
The other thing would be dirty dreads.
Yeah,
those are the ones.
no.
Those are the ones that look like the guy just woke up.
Yeah.
It just looks like a mess.
Keep it clean.
Looks like a bird's nest. That's what I call dirty.
Yeah,
dreads.
just all matted and nasty.
Yes,
right?
exactly. It's like you can find food.
They said Bob Marley, when he died, he had like 27 different species of insects in his head.
No.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? There's somebody who is like a big fan of Bob Marley is going to be angry right now. You know that, right? I'm going to get all the hate mail.
Yeah,
they don't have any way to contact you.
Hey, that's what they say, man.
Okay, well, then, if it's what they said. If it's what they said. Anyway, we got to get out of here. I got to play this real quick. Just because I promised I was going to play it. It was not Chuck Schumer. We'll probably have to go into that tomorrow. Harry Enton said something interesting. You know, as I always try to warn you folks, please do not get caught up in the news cycle. The news has a job, and that is to paint a very pretty picture for you of what the outrage is. It never, ever resonates because no one believes the news, and they're trying so hard to be not just relevant, but to be influencers, and that's what everybody does. Try this on for size.
After all the events in Los Angeles, after all the events in Minneapolis, after all the events of the last year on immigration, can Democrats actually take advantage on this issue? And a look at the polling suggests actually no. They're in a worse position than they were at this point during Donald Trump's first term. Take a look here. Trust which party more on immigration. In 2018, Democrats had an edge of about 6 points. You come over to this side of the screen now, look at that. Republicans are the ones who actually have an edge on immigration. So this whole idea that Democrats are going to be able to take advantage of the immigration group, of the immigration issue, actually doesn't bear itself out in the polling, despite everything that's been going on. In fact, Democrats are in worse position than they were during Donald Trump's first term.
I wish that wasn't the worst of it, folks. But leftists, it is worse than you think.
All right, what about border security in general? Okay, border security in general. So this is immigration at large. What about border security? Look at this. Look at these numbers. Hello, party trusted more in border security. Again, at this point, Trump's terms. Look at this. In 2018, Republicans had a 13-point advantage. If anything, the advantage is a little bit larger now. Republicans up by 15 points. So when you put it all together, you put immigration with border security and the idea that Democrats will be able to take the ball and run away on it, the polling data suggests no. This is...
Yeah. Guess what? That's not even the worst part. And again, remember what happened. Do you stand for Americans over illegals? This is important, folks. This immigration issue, Donald Trump knows how to win with it. And what Harry Enton is about to explain to you is the most important part. You don't stand up, folks.
What about when you compare President Trump with former President Biden? Yeah, okay. So, we speak about President Trump's approval rating, right, on immigration not being as high as it once was. But I'll tell you who the heck it's a lot higher than at this point in his term, and that's the predecessor, Joe Biden. Look at this, approval on immigration at this point in presidency. Biden was at just 34%. Donald Trump looks a whole heck of a lot better when you compare him to the alternative at 45%. And this, I think, is the big takeaway from this segment, which is you can't just look at something in isolation. You have to compare it to the alternative. And in this particular case, when you take a look at immigration and you compare Republicans to the alternative Democrats, this is an issue that Republicans should really like, and President Trump should like the comparison.
Yeah, you don't stand a chance. Just so you know, I was hoping that you guys would get the picture a long time ago, but you don't see how all of this is a strategy. By the way, if you haven't heard, the Republicans have already dropped their first ad with the Democrats not standing for Americans. They've already dropped it. Republicans are already there. Donald Trump's team has not released one yet, but they will. Congressional Republicans have an ad now. Some people say it's a little early, but I'm certain, very certain, that they are going to seize on this. And this was, I talked to Simsbury Joe yesterday. Remember what he said, right? He goes, look, I have less faith than you, Reese, that these guys will capitalize on it. And I said, I don't know, don't count them out. I'm going back to Kat Comack of Florida. Like I said, there was a plan. There was always a plan.
So we actually have a little something tonight for our friends on the left.
They were already ready for this. So the plan was to get them because, again, using Donald Trump's old template from last year, they'll stand for nothing. No matter what I say, no matter what I do, they will stand for nothing. And using that, and again, when you telegraph everything you are and everything that you do, you set yourself up for failure. When you tell everybody what you're going to do, when you do the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, right? You remember what was that guy's name? Who was Cordell Stewart? Wasn't that his name, Roland? Wasn't that the Slash, right? Slash. Cordell Stewart. Cordell Stewart of the Pittsburgh Steelers. You know who reminds me of him? Russell Wilson. He was kind of like him. He ran all over the place. He could run. He could catch. Russell Wilson didn't, but he reminded me a lot. He reminds me a lot of Cordell Stewart. But I remember Cordell Stewart. And I remember everybody said they called him Slash. The guy could do anything. And then his career went, like, literally, whoom. I mean, we're talking about in a crater. Why? Because the defense has figured him out. Right? He couldn't do the same thing over and over again. Sure, Michael Vick was a powerhouse. He gave, in the beginning of his career at Atlanta, he was doing stuff that nobody ever dreamed of until the defense figured him out. Same thing with, what's his name? What's his kid? The high light-skinned boy over at Kansas City. Yeah, Mahomes. Remember that guy? There wasn't a trick that boy couldn't pull out of his wrist. He was trying everything. All of a sudden, wasn't working anymore. Why? Defenses figured him out. And once you start doing the same thing over and over again, which is what the Democrats do, they know exactly, you'll stand for nothing for Donald Trump? Oh, you won't? No problem. We got you. And they were ready. And they did exactly what they were expected. And now, trust me when I tell you folks, look up, just check online. Democrats are trying really, really hard to recover from it. And they know they stepped in it. How do you win the midterms? Telling the American people you wouldn't stand for them. How are you going to do it now? Notice all of the conversations about affordability coming out of Washington right now. We're holding an affordability summit. We're now all of a sudden going to talk about lowering prices. Had all year to do that. Now all of a sudden you're desperate to. Knock it off. You're desperate now. Got caught flat-footed. Foiled again. Foiled again. It's great. For me, it's just fun to watch. We got to get up out of here. We'll be back tomorrow. Roseanne will be here. And also remember, Rob Vadaro will be here as well. And if you don't know who he is this guy.
To explain the trials and tribulations that every immigrant, that every refugee goes through to get here. And to press this country to...
Border! I stuck in the border. Go Trump! Go Trump! Hey, Murphy, you're a scumbag.
Thanks, man. Thanks, buddy.
Why do I laugh every time I watch it? Hey, Murphy, you're a scumbag. Thanks, buddy. Can't take it. He's the best. Rob will be on the show tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Stay tuned for that. Roseanne's here as well. And we'll wrap up the week for you. As I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC in your hearts and in your minds. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. Remember that panic is not planning. So plan your work and work your plan. Me, I'm Reese on the radio. You have a good night, a pleasant tomorrow. We will see you back here at 2 p.m. Mark Christopher is off, so getting you home is Tom O'Hanlon. He is in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center.